Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon takes pride in selling the tools farmers and tradespeople rely on. Like our Winnipeg location, Brandon carries the same tools you know and love. From all the brands you can trust, all in one convenient place. And with unbeatable service, we'll make sure you get the right tools to get the job done. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon, proud to serve Brandon's industrial needs since 2018. Stop on by today at 358 Park Avenue East. And good evening, Buffaloes Nation. Welcome into episode 28, season 2 of the Buffaloes podcast here on your home for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy coverage on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. I'm your host, Graham the G-Show Forsyth. We're brought to you by Terraco Goaltenders, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. As you saw their Brandon commercial play at the start of this one already, you'll be seeing their Winnipeg commercial coming up as well. You'll also be seeing Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia's commercial playing in this episode, as they're also a sponsor, as always, of this podcast for this 2024-2025 season. As for the hockey side of things for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, well, in terms of gameplay, their playoffs are well over at this point, as it's been a few weeks now since playoffs have concluded for all ages at the CSSHL playoffs in 2025 down in British Columbia. As for the kids over at Pilot Mound, well, they've had a chance to get on spring break this week that we're on right now. Of course, students will be returning to the classroom as well as to all of their regular activities at Pilot Mound Hockey Academy come next week. But yeah, that's where all the kids are off to, all these student athletes are off to this week, is enjoying their spring break in, well, whatever way they choose to do so. But before spring break hit, it was the female U18 prep evaluation camp that ended up happening this past weekend. As we take a look at what the schedule looked like, not as much involved in this camp in terms of the number of events on the schedule compared to the U15 prep male ID camp, but that's because there was a lesser turnout in terms of number of players that ended up going into that U18 female prep ID camp this past weekend in Blackjack Stewart Arena. To talk about it with me next, as well as ID camps in general happening at Pilot Mound right now, as well as the recruiting side of things and much more, is Gordy Tummelson. Gordy joins the show as always here for another week to talk about, just what I had mentioned, what I had referenced. I hope you all enjoyed here, the goaltender's owner and a man that wears many hats at Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. Gordy Tummelson joins the show next here on Season 2, Episode 28 on this Thursday night on April 3rd, our first April show of the year here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Gordy joins the show next. And it's Gordy Tummelson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast, as he has all season long for another time here, this time in April, as we're finally into this month at the very near end of the hockey season now, Gordy, as ID camps roll on for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy in general. The U18 female prep ID camp happened this past weekend. Yeah, the thoughts from it from the folks over at Pilot Mound, from I guess the talent that came out. What's the I guess first thoughts, general thoughts from that weekend?
Yeah, I think it was an okay camp. I think we had about 30 players, and we didn't. I don't think we're writing on signing up any superstars, but some good solid players. We filled probably half of the spots, off of this camp, and then the other half of the spots, which is about 10 spots to fill. We've got about 10 kids coming back, 8, 10, depending on what's going on, and so. We expect then to fill about half the spots off this camp, and then maybe another half again through other contacts that we have. And speaking of other contacts, I didn't get a chance to tell you, Graham, we have locked into a potential. This is potential goalie out of the Czechia. And she is quite the player. She plays mostly boys hockey. She's a 16-year-old playing against 18 boys for the most of her career and moving up into this category. And she's really, really good. So we have an opportunity to sign what would appear to be, kind of almost a sort of a superstar goalie person. So we're hoping that comes to fruition. We're working on that. I personally am very involved in this. So, it always gets me excited when we have a really great player that we can sign, and we're a good place for goalies. All of our goalies seem to do pretty well. A lot of shots, I guess, and then great goalie coaching, right, Gordy?
Right, right, of
And
course.
Colin. So yeah. So anyway, we do pretty well on the goalie side of things, and so we're looking forward to talking to that girl later on this week.
Yeah, and I mean, as we've talked about before, Pilot Mound, beyond all else or above all else, the goaltending always seems to stand out year in and year out. And if they can add a bit more superstar talent to that position on the female side, I think that would be pretty fun to see, especially with the goaltender being from Czechia. I got some Czechia roots, Gordy, from my heritage. I guess it's in my blood, you know what they say, but. Yeah, for this U18 squad, as you said, for this past weekend, the players, no superstars, but some players that are obviously going to fill a lot of spots from this camp. What about beyond this camp? What does that next process look like in terms of trying to maybe find a game breaker or even two?
Well, we start tapping tournaments and our scouts that are out there. We poke them harder all the time to get out and see girls. Most of our scouts are leaning boy. They lean to the boys side of things, but we have turned a few around a little bit to look more at girls. There's a lot of great girl hockey players out there, and they may not be the ones that we think they would come from, maybe locally. I mean, Manitoba, of course, we have four major teams in girls U18 hockey: St. Mary's, Balmoral, the Rink, and ourselves. And so local talent gets kind of pulled aside. Plus, we've got a hugely successful, as you well know, AAA program at U18 level. My gosh. So, girls hockey has got lots of great players and lots of great places to play. So, we're starting to look more elsewhere. And I think we're going to start to lean further south as we've kind of gone west a little bit more often. We never see much success out of Saskatchewan. They seem to be pretty much into their own province. They don't travel very much, or
Right.
the girls there, or the players there, for that matter, boys. Alberta kids, they don't have enough teams for all the good talent that's in that province. And so at BC. There's a lot of good kids that get left behind because they don't have enough teams. So, we kind of go in there. But I'm thinking as we move forward, I'm in my second year as a kind of a recruitment guy, organizing it a little bit, and we're really I'm starting to think that our bread and butter is going to be out of the States, and because they're not going to have the kind of quality programs, we don't think, for the price that we charge in Canadian dollars. So we think we've got a bit of an advantage there. So we're going to work on that. Hopefully, Mr. Trump doesn't get in the way of that little goodie. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how, but that crazy guy. Anyway, we won't talk about him. But we think the American side's where we're going to spend a little bit more of our time and energy looking for players.
Yeah, and just, I mean, speaking on strictly the development side of things in the US, I mean, it's been on the rise in terms of them producing better and better quality talent throughout
Mhm.
the years. So that definitely a market that I think Pilot Mound's seen some success from so far, and yeah, tap into that a bit more, see what happens, right? But speaking of this U18 side, Gordy, two players that are going to be teammates at the next level, going to Midland and Fremont, Nebraska, is both Heidi Danners as well as Ashlyn Kuffler, Pilot Mound Hockey Academy's U18 female leading scorer this season, both committing to Midland to play Warriors hockey in Fremont, Nebraska for the 2025-2026 season. At the D1 level too, Gordy, how huge is this for these two players to be able to stay with each other, but to make this announcement?
Yeah, well, both of those players are really good, and they've been scouted for a long time, and we knew they were going somewhere. To go together is a bonus for them. I think they get along pretty well, so that's always a good thing when you're going with somebody else. Kuffler being from BC and Heidi being from just rural Manitoba, just down the road from Pilot Mound. Good on those two for showcasing their skills. And the good news is they're going to Midland. There's a couple of other kids that I think have gone to Midland in the past from Pilot Mound. So Midland's kind of been a place, and then through that sort of Midwest, we're starting to make a lot of good connections for our top end players coming out of Pilot Mound to play Division One. We've got a lot of Division Two and Three teams that we filter kids off to as well. Most of our girls, if not all of them, that graduate. It'd be the odd one that doesn't. If they want to go south or east or west in Canada, there's a place to play. Our kids come out of our place as pretty good players, and there's always room for improvement, of course. And these organizations that they go to, the colleges, they like to have kids that when they come there that are still a little bit raw, still need some work, and of course they all do. Experience is huge, as you move through the program down there. But at the end of the day, they get to coach a little bit. They get to improve the players to the caliber of the league they're playing in, Division One. I got to tell you, we just had I just got a note from one of our goalies from last year's team. Or actually, your dad sent me some. He keeps sending me updates. Dads are proud guys, right? You ever get to be a dad, you got a kid that's doing good, man, there's no more proud people than mom and dad. But I got a note from Alex Mills' dad, Sean, on Sunday. And Alex played for us not this year, but last year, of course. And she went to Division One Colorado, UACHA, the ACHA league. She made the number one starting goalie on the rookie team for that whole division. She's a top 10 goalie in all of USA hockey, a rookie player, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I can't remember because there's just a lot of it. But her dad is so proud, and he said, Gordy, you guys turned her into a goalie animal. So there you go. Anybody's looking for for a program to get to, ours is the one. We're going to get your kid to be a goalie animal. So thanks to Sean Mills and good luck and continued good luck and hard work to Alex. She's a good kid, needed to find her way, and she found it at Pilot Mound, and we're proud of her.
Yeah, shout out to Alex Mills for continuing to shine outside of Pilot Mound, after a time spending it there for a few years. Gordy, I guess there's going to be potential junior signings coming up. There already have been on the male side. Are we going to see any of those potentially coming up here soon, more as well as more university signings, maybe on the male side too, as well as the female side?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we know that Polonowski is signed, in Humboldt, and I know there's one or two others that are very close to or have signed. The signing business is a little bit touchy. The announcing of the signing, it's not the signing. I mean, the kids sign, but the teams typically want to make the first move. They want to be able to say, we've signed this guy. And so we have to back off on what we say we wait for them to make their announcement, and then we jump on it as well, of course, through our social media, and then on the show, and in our newspaper at the Hometown View and Pilot Mound in that particular part of the world. So yeah, so we're kind of waiting on a couple more, but there will be some more signings coming up, and of course there's a lot of tryouts that happen between now and the fall. Yeah, God knows we're there's tryouts everywhere with everybody, and it's hard to lock kids in to come to ID camps or anything because they're trying out here, there, and everywhere. But there's sure to be some more tryouts, and we know that, and we know too that some of our kids that have graduated from our U18 team that are going back to, we have two boys from Czechia, and one from two boys from Czechia that are heading back home, and they're expecting to play in the next level hockey in there. And so, we're waiting for them to sign. So, it's worldwide signings. It's not just Manitoba Junior Hockey League or the Dub or whatever. We're looking for kinds of signings just about everywhere, and we will keep people posted as best we can as we hear about them.
Right on. And I think that's awesome, them getting to go back, the European players to their home countries, to their homeland to continue to live out their dreams. I mean, that's I think probably one of the best experiences for an athlete to be able to probably play at that next level in your hometown after being overseas, right? And playing here in
Well,
North
that's
America.
that's the whole deal, right? The kids come here. I mean, we had a guy, Jürgen Kustermans, who 5, 6 years ago came to us and played for 3 years, played a year of junior hockey in Canada, and his goal was to make the Netherlands or Belgium's national hockey team. Is a Division 3 team. You're not going to beat Canada in the gold medal, but he always wanted to make his home country's team. Guess what? He made his home country's team after coming to Pilot Mound. So did the guy. We had a boy in Australia. We've got all these kinds of kids that are growing up, in our program and in the other programs too. I mean, I'm not just, we're not the only one out there turning out good players, but we are one of the places turning out good players. They've got better skills. They understand the game better. They're coached. They spend a lot of time in the ice, 200, 300 hours, 250, 300 hours of ice time every year. All those 50 games, all that exposure on Flow TV, et cetera, et cetera. Why you can't get a better hockey development, education, et cetera, and learn to be a real good human being at the same time than in Pilot Mound. So there's my sales pitch for Pilot Mound again today.
There you are, folks. There's still ID camps that are going to be coming up, of course, on the 18th. It's going to be a male ID camp that's going to be happening as I pull it up here.
Yeah,
It's
it's our
the
U18s and
U17s,
yeah,
U17s,
U17s and 18s.
and 18s. So
Yep.
it's going to be both.
Yeah, they always have both. I don't know. I know why they do it because sometimes you get a really good U18 guy or U17 guy, and sometimes our U18s need a little bit of a bump on players. So they kind of are there to measure the players better. So we have it on the same weekend, and we get all the kids involved, and we get to look at the goals. It kind of restricts the numbers sometimes a little bit, but at the end of the day, that's what happens, and we do that, but it gives us a good look at the players and who can play, and our U17s have just won their Division 2 championship, so that's big for them. And of course, our U18s are on year 3 of or year 4 of trying to improve to the point of being, I guess it's year 4 now. It will be, and so we're expecting some bigger things from them. And then again, too, we're also hoping our junior teams in Manitoba will, point to Pilot Mound when they're sending players back to minor hockey in some way. They'll say, "Hey, there's an option at Pilot Mound, and come and play, go and see what that looks like." So, yeah, it's a huge time for us, for all the teams in this particular CSSHL league, and boy, it's got to be a little bit of pressure on the kids and parents and flying around and driving around. It's a wild time and it's spring, so here we are.
Yeah. And being able to build up that connection with junior teams, especially the MJ, that massive potentially. Another connection that would be, I think, very beneficial to both sides. But Gordy, it's spring break at this point. Give us a little rundown before we let you go about what's going to be coming up next. Of course, the kids are out of the dorms, back home for now. But the work continues for the front office over in Pilot Mound for these coaches trying to make signings and stuff. Is that what we're going to see for the next month as well, continuing to go through that process?
Well, the coaches never get a break. They're the workhorses, and you don't think, well, they coach the hockey team. Well, they don't just coach the hockey team. Some of them work. At the schools. Some of them do other things around the organization, in the office and whatnots, and they're all involved in signing players, scouting, recruiting, talking to parents. That to sign 20, if you're signing 20, Colin Fafra, for instance, he's got to sign, 18 or 19 players. He's got to probably talk to 100 parents
Yeah.
because they're not all signing. Some are saying they're kicking tires or doing this and that. So they're busy, and then they head out and do some scouting. There's a lot of tournaments in Manitoba. Hockey Manitoba puts on, so they're doing their thing there. It's a busy time signing players, looking for players, and then the kids come back. When they come back, they still practice. They still have practices. They're developing their skills. And they're working on different kinds of practices so that individual players can work on special skills to make them even better as they grow in our development program. So, yeah, coaches are busy guys and gals. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and man, a lot of names for Coach Fafara to go through, and of course, it'll be exciting to see what those final results are going to be for the roster heading into next year for that U15 program, who are coming off of a finals loss in Division Two play in the CSSHL playoffs this year in Penticton, British Columbia. Of course, looking to find a way to maybe even improve on that next season, but we won't know until we play the games next year, Gordy. For now, we'll continue talking about what's currently going on, which is more about the recruiting side as well as the ID camps in our last few episodes of the Buffaloes podcast here for the 2024-2025 season. Until we connect next week, you take care.
Thanks a lot, Graham. Always good to be here.
And always a pleasure to be joined by Gordy Tummelson, this time in episode 28, season 2 of the Buffaloes podcast. Our podcast season coming to an end here soon. We're getting into the finals of our Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League playoff coverage, which that's been a lot of fun so far. St. Boniface Riels and Transcon Railer Express battling out in the final, which is starting next Wednesday. But yeah, as for the CSSHL, things have not officially wrapped up in terms of their playoffs, as I mentioned last month at this point. And as for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, well, as me and Gordy Tummelson talked about, it's very much about what we talked about, which is recruiting here, moving forward, taking a look at the players they liked, deeper dive into the players they liked in the ID camps for the U15s and the U18 female prep programs. And then, of course, coming up, it's going to be the U17 and U18 prep evaluation camps, the ID camps, which are going to be going later this month, April 18th until the 20th. Still a lot of time to register. Be sure to do so by checking out Pilot Mound Hockey Academy's website at pilotmoundhockeyacademy.com. We also got it in the description of this episode if you end up forgetting what the website handle is. But as for the rest of the news from around Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, we got some commitment news to dive further into, of course, to actually show you the graphics that Pilot Mound's social media team put out. Congratulations to defenseman Heidi Danners, as well as senior forward for the Buffaloes in Ashlyn Kuffler, on making their commitment to the Midland Warriors to play Division I hockey in the ACHA. Ashlyn and Heidi were instrumental parts of the success that Pilot Mound's U18 female prep program had when they have had any success throughout these past few seasons, and if they continue to work at their games, no doubt they're going to make big impacts for their new team, which is the Midland Warriors. They'll be starting next year. We're going to have more news from the latest commitments as well as junior hockey signings in the next few episodes as we wrap up Season 2 of the Buffaloes podcast. If you want the latest, though, be sure to check out Pilot Mound on their social media pages, PM Buffaloes, as they'll have probably the latest news first, since they're the ones that end up making the announcements first. But cool, another thing that Pilot Mound Hockey Academy announced on their X account, just trying to find it exactly here. We're going to pull up the picture in just a moment of what they posted. And it ended up being the head recruiter of the Pilot Mound Buffaloes, and Isaac Friesen, claiming the THHL Senior Championship with the Killarney Shamrocks 5 days ago. Congratulations to Isaac and his teammates. They're going to be going to the provincial finals, and the Buffaloes tweeting out that they're cheering him all the way, and his teammates. So yeah, congratulations to Isaac. Would love to have him on the show at some point to talk recruiting, but yeah, great achievement for him, lighting it up in senior hockey and having a chance along with the rest of those men with those teammates to be able to play for a provincial championship in the provincial final coming up. As we got another commitment to announce. I don't have the graphic right here, but this was 6 hours ago, as male U17 prep defenseman in Brody Watink. He's officially committed to the Dauphin Kings and the MJHL for the 2025-2026 season. So Dauphin now has Brody's rights, and yeah, they're getting a player that has championship experience now and was a crucial part of the U17 Prep Buffaloes championship run, as well as their success this season. So congratulations to Brody, to Ashlyn, as well as to Heidi, all three of the latest commitments from Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, as well as congratulations to Isaac being able to play for a provincial championship now, being a THHL champion, of course. So yeah, we're going to throw it to a commercial break here. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, as well as McKen Fasteners and Tools, and then we'll be back on this shorter edition of the Buffaloes podcast to bring you some final words here on episode 28, season 2.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. McKen Fasteners and Tools has been the place to shop for your industrial needs for over 20 years. Carrying the tools you need to get the job done from the brands you can trust, McKen Fasteners and Tools has you covered. Brands like Milwaukee Tool, established in 1924 and on display in our Milwaukee Red Zone, the largest red zone in Winnipeg. With construction workers and tradespeople in mind, McCann Fasteners and Tools is your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. So come on down to our Winnipeg store location today, located on 1557 King Edward Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
And welcome back to the Buffaloes podcast, Buffaloes Nation. If you tuned into this one, thank you for doing so. You've made it to the end of this episode, which, of course, as we've mentioned many times, episode 28, season 2. Thank you for taking the time out of your night or whenever you tune into this edition of the Buffaloes podcast for doing so. Be sure to consider subscribing, turning on notifications, and leaving a like. All help support the channel. And of course, if you subscribe and turn on notifications, you'll be able to catch all the latest editions of the Buffaloes podcast when they come out. You'll get those notifications to let you know that a new episode is going live. So that's the great part about that. Also, a great part of this is our wonderful sponsors continuing to support us. Thank you to Ken Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico Goaltenders, as well as McCann Fasteners and Tools for continuing to support our Pilot Mound Hockey Academy coverage. And also a special thanks to my man and Gordon Tevelson for coming on this edition of the show and joining it here. Hoping to have more guests, different guests, who are going to be coming on in the next few episodes as we're coming down to the wire here at the end of season 2 of this wonderful podcast. As for all the wonderful people that tuned in to this one, I wish you all the best this weekend, a safe and fun weekend at that. Weather should be warming up here soon too. I think I haven't exactly checked the weather forecast, but it's definitely feeling more like spring. It is officially spring too. It's officially started on, I believe, March 21st. I could be off on that, but yeah, enjoy the nice weather if it's nice where you are, everybody. And until next week, Buffaloes Nation, we'll have our official release date for episode 29, season 2 on our social media platforms, as well as on our website for next week. Until then, though, I've been your host, Graham the G Show Forsyth, signing off, giving you the peace out and waving so long, everybody. We got the MMJHL podcast, the latest edition of that, coming up in about 30 minutes here if you are interested in tuning into that, as well as more podcast content coming out tomorrow. But until next week, Buffaloes Nation, Tyson Unruh, Juno Award winner, will take us away with his March of the Buffaloes anthem. Take care, everybody.